Okay, I didn't really like the results of doing one fidget spinner at a time, so I'm going to go back to doing multiple fidget spinners at a time now. I'm going to show you the next 5 fidget spinners that are the last ones from the last unpackaging. The first one here is this one from Legacy. Again, I did the same one a few videos ago, but that was the stainless steel version and this is the brass version, so it's a little bit different. It feels a little bit different than the other one. So that's going to be the first one we do right there. And then the next one is going to be another one from Fegvi, I guess you say it. And this is different design than the previous one we did. It's very attractive, looks very nice, and it seems to feel pretty nice too. So that's going to be the next one we do. And then we have this one from VCEDC. I think it's called the Triton V2 or something like that, but I'll check that out. This one's a little bit different. Doesn't feel quite as good as some of the others, but we'll check it out and see how it goes. Maybe I can get used to it if I play with it a little bit more. But it's definitely different than most. Then we have this one from Evo, which does multiple things. It's spring loaded, and you can push the ends in like this, or you can spin these little spinners on the end, and the whole thing is one big fidget spinner. That's the next one. And then we have this little one, kind of small, from actually I don't know where this one comes from yet. I'm going to have to look that up and see what the name of it is. I don't have that yet. It's kind of interesting though. It has a regular screw in the center of it, and it spins pretty well, and it feels a little different than some of the others. So we'll have to check this one out and see how it goes. So that's going to be the next 5 fidget spinners for this video, and I'm going to get on with testing these out and see how they go. Okay, I'm finally getting around to reviewing the last 5 fidget spinners from the last unpackaging. I took a little break there for a while. The first one is this little 4-pointed star. It's made by a company named Dmaus, D-M-A-O-S. Pretty typical little fidget spinner. It only got an average spin duration of 4 minutes and 23 seconds, but you wouldn't expect a lot more from something this size. It has a couple unique things about it. One is that it has a screw, an actual screw to hold it in place. I took it apart once before and looked at it. Little kind of interesting construction, and the finish is, it's got a very shiny finish on it. This costs $27.63 on eBay, weighs 44 grams. It does have an R188 bearing in it, so it's actually pretty fun to play with. Not the most fantastic spin time in the world, but I don't really have this seems to just be called the Mini Tri Spinner by that company, and I don't have a link to it anymore. The link I bought it from is dead at this point. But this one's pretty cool, and the price wasn't too bad. So that one I would recommend, but nothing special. The next one is this Legacy brass spinner, which I've already done once before. I didn't do the brass one, I did the stainless steel one before. This thing has an excellent spin time of 8 minutes and 35 seconds. And the best thing about it is it does have a really great feel to it. So I would consider this one a very good spinner. In fact, I scored it excellent. I got an overall score of 9.14, and that's one of the best scores I've ever gotten. It doesn't wobble if you spin it like this and go side to side. It doesn't wobble. It's very smooth, and seems to be one of the nicest ones to just sit and play around with. So I would definitely recommend this one. This only costs $48. And it weighs, it was on eBay, I got it for $48, and it weighs 86 grams. It does have an R188 bearing, and it is brass. That one comes highly recommended. The next one is this one from Evo, which is a really unique fidget spinner. It has a really complicated artistic design to it. I'm not sure if that looks great or not, but the most unique things about it, of course, for one thing, of course, it's a fidget spinner, so you can spin it like this. But it has a couple of other features. One is that it's spring-loaded, so you can play with it like that. And I seem to be the best way to use it is just put it in your hand like this and kind of do like that, like you were flicking a cigarette lighter or something. That's pretty good to do, but I don't know if you like doing that. The other thing you can do is get these little wheels at the end. Each end has a little wheel on it, and you can kind of just sit here and flick it like this. So that's pretty cool. A little bit pricey. It cost $100 on eBay, and I think, if I remember right, it does have a number on it. It's serial number. I can't quite read it from here. I think it's 139 I've got here. It got an overall score of 6.8, and it was largely because it got penalized for inconsistency in spin. It had an overall spin time of 5 minutes and 53 seconds, which is not too bad, but it didn't like being spun vertically like this. It got much slower spin time when you do like this rather than sideways, and it got a penalty for that. So this one cost, I think it was $100 on eBay, and it has an R188 bearing, and it weighs, I think I got the weight wrong on that one, so I'm not going to tell you that one. I think the weight was 64 grams. I've got these written backwards. But this one is, it's pretty cool. It's nice to have, but again, despite all the features it has, it's nothing really that special. So for $100, it's kind of a little bit overpriced, I'd say. All right, and the next one I have is the Triton V2, which is a pretty interesting spinner. This one was obviously made to be a long spinner. It's thin right near the caps, and it gets very fat out at the edges. And it has little indentations for your finger to catch in when you're trying to spin it, which are a bit problematic. You can see they were trying to give you some way to spin it with your fingers, and you can, if you play with it a little bit, you can kind of get the hang of it. It would have been a lot nicer if they had cut these notches farther in, so you could get a better bite on the thing. But if you play with it a little bit, you can kind of get the hang of it. It has a very long spin time. It got an average spin time of 11 minutes and 23 seconds. The biggest problem with it, and the reason it got a score that wasn't really super high, was because it did vary a lot. It got, if you put it on one side, it got about a spin time of about 8.5 minutes on average, and on the other side it goes around 10, a little over 10 minutes. Put it vertically, we're talking about 14 to 15 minutes. So it really likes to be held vertically to spin very long. But if those differences in time don't matter to you, it would get a much higher score. I only gave it a 5.99 because that's how the calculations work out. But if you don't care about that variability in the spin time, depending on how it's held, you would give it a much higher score, like like an 8 or something. I don't really like the feel that much, just because you don't get quite a good bite on it with your finger, so it's not really satisfying to play around with. So, not the best spin time. This one actually cost $54.95 on eBay. It does have an R188 bearing, and that weighs 106 grams, so it's a little bit on the heavy side too. Pretty good spinner though. Just got a couple little annoyances with it. The last one I have here is this Fidget tri-spinner, similar to the one I did in the last video. This one has a different shape though, and I didn't think the shape was going to work out too well, but it actually does. It's very easy to spin. You get really satisfying little flicks out of it, and of course it's gorgeous. I mean, the colors are fantastic and the pattern is fantastic. So this is the kind of thing you would almost buy as a piece of art. Little on the pricey side. I paid $166.90 for it, but I'm seeing now on eBay you can get them for around $75, and I think that's well worth it, to tell you the truth. It's made of titanium, has a 606 hybrid bearing in it, which works pretty well. It got an average spin time of 6 minutes and 46 seconds, which isn't fantastic, but it's still really good. It's certainly good enough that as something to carry around with you. It's certainly a good enough spin time, and would have been a little nicer maybe if it had an R188 in it, but just for the looks of this thing, and it does have a fantastic feel to it. So it gets a score of 9.1, which is again one of the higher scores I've ever given. That one I would definitely recommend. This is the second one from this company with this kind of pattern on it and this look to it, and I'm really impressed with both of them. So that's the last 5 I have from that last unpackaging, and hopefully pretty soon I'll get on to some more. We'll see you later.